This week on Counsil Customs, we're gonna fix all these nasty floors and get this cab looking better. So right now we're gonna start pulling out all of like this shifter. I'm most likely gonna reuse this shifter because it does have all the locking mechanism. And this is budget build, so there's a good shifter, but we've got to pull out like the heater box stuff under there, clean all the firewall out, get all the wiring and everything out of the cab, because all of this is eventually going to get painted, as well as get the visors down, get the mirror off, clean up all these sides and everything, because these are going to get painted as well. Get the handles off, the doors are going to get painted, all that kind of stuff. Or get the door handles off because the door panels are going to get painted and all that stuff. But we're going to work on getting all this stuff stripped out of here right now. We'll be right back. Alright, so what we're about to do is get everything's inside, and there has been zero prep work put into this because we don't want to touch the rust. If we touch it at all, it's going to leave fingerprints on it, and we don't want to leave fingerprints on it. So right now we've moved everything in that's going to get a clear coat on the outside: tailgate, hood, upper valance, fenders, cab, bed, all this stuff that's going to get a clear coat on it. We brought it in. Dad's already mixed up some clear, so we're about to shoot all this stuff with a clear coat. So here we go. Episode, we ended the episode with getting all this stuff rusted. So now what we're doing is getting everything locked in with a clear coat and coming out like this. So actually Dad's over here spraying right now. And we're doing it this way so that way you can still see all the rust runs and everything on the side of the truck. So that way the patina is locked in. So on the side of the truck, you'll still be able to see all the runs and everything coming down the cab and all that stuff. Just like on this tailgate, you can still see all of its imperfections and all that stuff on the tailgate. You can still tell that it's rust with a clear coat over top of it. So I'm gonna set y'all up on time lapse and we'll see the whole process go down. And I love the fact that it's hiding. Whenever we put this patina on here, you cannot see where the welds were on the front or on the back, nor on the front. It's completely hidden where the welds were, so there's no evidence that there was ever any work done on this cab or on this bed. The fact that it was shortened, it doesn't jump out at you, the fact that there is a weld right there down that seam. So he's in the middle of mixing up another mixture, so we'll get y'all set up so we can see it. So because this rust has obviously like a rust layer over top of it, we're gonna keep coating on layers until it drinks up all of it. Because if you notice, even like he just got done spraying, there's already like dry spots in it from the rust just soaking it right up. So the goal now is keep putting on layers until it comes out nice and shiny all the way through. So now he's gonna do this other side of this hood, but you can already see how it darkens up the rust and it shows everything inside of it still. It doesn't just make it look uniform. Well, I hope y'all are seeing what I had in mind for the outcome of this truck, showing off the patina and letting it speak for the fact there's no body work of the truck. There may be dents, there may be some little imperfections. You can see that one right there. And like there's one right there, this one right there. There's a little ripple in the bedside. The hood's not perfect, but that's the whole point. I'd rather see all these imperfections in the truck and there's no filler. Whereas before, the truck was full of filler and we spent several days stripping all that down to get down to just the bare metal so we could do this outcome and it not be full of Bondo or whatever. You pick your brand of filler. But I'd rather see these rust streaks and stuff down the side of the truck and know that the truck's not full of body filler. All right, so tonight, what I'm gonna work on is trying to fill up some of these rust, or not just rust holes. I have a rust hole right here in the front, but that's the only real rust hole in the front of the truck. So besides that, I'm gonna work on filling up some of these little holes, like these right here. I'll cut this one open and make one plate to go right there. I'm gonna fill up like that little hole, that hole, that hole, that hole, this one, that one, that one. There's some all over there. These two right here I'm not gonna do anything with because I'm gonna get a AC bulkhead, one of the square ones that'll be right here. So it's gonna have air conditioning and heat and all that stuff. So I'm gonna leave these two for that later on. That's the same exact location I used whenever I built my 66, and I really liked it being right here because if you see, there's actually like a wear line right here where the fender lands. So right here in this spot, you're able to run these hoses nice and clean down the inner fender well. So right now I'm just gonna work on sealing up some of these holes. I don't need them to be perfect and flat, but I just need to seal them up. So I'll probably just fill this in with weld, grind it flat. Fill that in with weld, grind it flat. Fill that in with weld, grind it flat. This is not, I know you're probably sick of me saying it, it's not supposed to be a perfect truck. I'm just showing you, you can get them going without going crazy on them and making them super perfect. I'm just gonna do the bare minimum of what you need to do to get it going. That still gives you a really pretty outcome that still, honestly, I mean, I hate to kind of burst some people's bubble, but it'll still be nicer than a lot of the cars whenever you go to like your local little Saturday night little pull-in hangout spot. A lot of those cars are built in the 80s, and some of the guys still have the same building mentality as the 80s. And we've come a long way in technology and design and tolerance, and we can build a lot better than that. I believe in you. I believe in me. Let's get to it. Let's not take no for an answer, and let's get this stuff fixed up. All right, so now that most of these are welded up, I'm gonna hold off on this one for right this moment. I'm probably gonna go ahead and make a square and put in there, and I'll make a little round one to put in here, and make a little round one to put in here. This is gonna be for the wiring harness to come through because it has a rubber grommet and everything. If I wind up needing another one, I could punch a hole in here somewhere later for another wiring harness piece to come through. But for right now, I'm probably just gonna make a patch for that, and that one. But now I'm just gonna go ahead, I'm gonna get the grinder out. I'll knock the heads of these down, clean them up, and I'm gonna go ahead and clean this firewall from there to here to have this section all but patching those up tomorrow. That will be ready for paint. You know, obviously there's still more to go from that point down, but this upper section will be ready. And then tomorrow as well, we're gonna work on making a patch for this hole and repairing this upper cab mount right here. I'll probably end up just cutting, we'll whenever we get to it, we'll get to it, and we'll figure out how we're gonna go about repairing it. And once that and that is repaired up here, that will be all of the stuff that we're going to take care of on the outside of the cab. Then we can move to the inside to work on patching up the floors inside. So let me go ahead and get this section of cab ready, and so that way tomorrow we can jump on all that. All right, so last night got the whole firewall, all the stuff welded up and totally cleaned. So the firewall and the upper part up here, the cowl area, all of this part is ready for paint. This cab mount over here, I did go ahead and plate it up. It's been cut out. There's all the old metal. It was cut out and re-welded in there. So that one is repaired. The bottom side of this cab mount is actually still in good shape and still really thick. So I didn't want to go ahead and just completely replace this whole thing for, I think they're like 80 bucks for a new cab mount whenever it's still solid. It just needed to have the corner of it repaired right here. So I'm going to go ahead and I'll clean all this off whenever I get a minute to work on that. That one over there is actually in solid condition. I need to pull the plate off and clean it out. But that'll be the last thing on the front of the truck. Just pull that plate off the front, clean out that cab mount. Over here, inside of the truck is where we're going next. So I looked to see if this would be able to be welded. It's a little bit too thin. So I'm gonna just cut this out, replace this little section with just some flat steel. It doesn't need to have the rib in it. Not for what we're doing. We're not going for showroom quality. It just needs to not have a rust hole in it. And then up here in the front, this is the bottom side of the cab mount, and it just hangs back. That's how they work from the factory. So all this metal up here it goes over to, this is the edge of the cab mount. So I'm gonna cut in here and find a spot over here, probably go triangularly down to it over here where I find solid metal again, and I'll make a patch to go in here, and then we'll chop out this section and replace this, and then the driver's side floorboard, once I prepare that and that, driver's side floorboard will be done, and we can move to the passenger side. It's a lot of rinse and repeat. We do have a little speckle back here. This right here needs to be repaired. Same thing. This one on the door mount, there is a little spot right here. I'll plate it up. Now I'm just gonna work on that floorboard, getting the driver's side completely tackled. Then I'll probably move up to the transmission mount, just work my way from the driver's side to the passenger side. This has been hacked on at some point in the past, so I'll make a little piece to go in here, make a little piece to go in here, weld that up. It's not going to be a 4-speed truck anymore, so I can go ahead and fill up this 4-speed hole as well, and then we'll work our way over to the passenger's floorboard. So I'm going to go ahead and get y'all set up where I can start cutting, and I'm just going to put it in time lapse because this is going to be a process. It's going to take a little while. So wish me luck, and here we go. So worked on it pretty late last night, and I got this rust hole right here is repaired. We've got that one in the firewall up there, which was the original clutch rod spot, which we're not going to be using anymore, so that's been repaired. This whole driver's side of the floor has been patched up. Then over here, I'm actually opting to wait on cutting this out right now and patching that up, because I do kind of like the idea of the shifter landing right here for the automatic shifter. I might make a little box for that to land here, and then just trim this out later how I want. But we're not going to use the 4-speed location, so I went ahead and sealed up the floor speed spot, or the 4-speed spot right there. I'm going to move over to the passenger side and start digging into all that. But luckily, like the last little things on the outside of the cab that needed to be touched up, like the front cab mount. Yeah, the front cab mount, that's all been cleaned up. I found a couple more things. There was a spot over here on the side that was rusted through, so got that all plated up and fixed. But I gotta get over here, pull this cover off, clean all the dirt out of this one. That'll put us where we're gonna start doing all the repair in here. Now luckily it doesn't have to be a big up into the floor, because this side is more solid, so it's all pretty much just right in here. So this will be I feel like it's gonna be an easier repair to take care of than that side was. And we've got to get a vacuum in here and get all this rust out, and then get this spot right here patched up as well. I'm gonna get working on all this, get all this fixed up. I'm hoping, if all goes well, I can have all this repaired and we should be able to shoot all the black today. But I gotta get cranking on it if we're gonna get that done. So I'll get back with y'all shortly. So upon my archaeological dig here into the truck, getting all this metal cut out of here, I just told y'all that I needed to vacuum out this corner of the door pocket. So I got it cut open so that way I'll be able to make the piece to go into that slot. Take a look at what I found in here. I haven't touched this. I haven't done anything. The pieces that I cut out of there are still in the hole. Check this out. We've got an old toy Volkswagen Bug. What is it? A Becca? Made in Hong Kong. And it's, look at that, the body on it's almost rusted out. Man, that's pretty cool. You never know what you're gonna find in these old cars. Down in some random spot in the corner of the truck. Kind of makes you want to just put it back in there and re-weld it back up. Wait for the next guy in 40 years to find it. But who knows if there'll be anything left at that point. But man, that's pretty cool. That's gonna go maybe in a glove box or something like that of the truck. Man, that's cool. All right, so we just got all of the floors welded up. So here's the section that's in the door. I'm gonna come back later and grind all this. But for right now, there's a section of the door. There's the floor pan. There's that spot back here. And that's all of the rust in the floors. So now what we're gonna do is, I'm not the paint guy. I can do all this, but I can't do the paint. Dad's here. So we're gonna take the truck, set it on the ground, flip it on its back, mask up all the outside, because remember, all this has already been cleared, so we can start spraying all the black that's going to be the floorboards, the firewall, those little sections that go back here behind the doors. All of this front core support section, we're going to spray the back side and the front side that you're going to see. So all that's going to get painted, as well as the bottom side of the hood. We've got to get that setting up in here somewhere so we can spray the back side of the hood, and set these fenders up somewhere. We can flip them on their back and spray the back sides of these two fenders. So we got the two fenders, hood on the back side, all the core support section, and the bottom side of the cab. So that's all the stuff that's ready right now for paint. I'm holding off on doing any paint on the bed right this moment, because I'm not sure exactly what we got going on, so I'm holding off on that. Trying to work on a couple of things. I don't know what's going to happen, so I'm just going to leave it at that for right now. So that's going to stay there, but we can go ahead and get going on the cab and get paint work done on that. So that way that is ready to be mounted to the frame as soon as it's painted. But we can move forward from there and start cleaning up the interior, doing paint work and sound deadening and all that stuff right now while it's out here on the floor. Open that up for a radio to fit in it and all that stuff. Besides the point, let's go ahead and get this thing on the floor, start getting it masked up, get everything moved around, and get everything ready for some black paint to go down. All right, here we go. We're just gonna shoot some black on all this just to cover it, to make it look way better. And the airplanes are out there drifting apparently. But just gonna start shooting all this stuff. Dad's first time. on the metal.
Right here?
Yep, pull back. Yep. Go. Hit it.
Whoa.
Go. That's your coloring.
It feels like I have a big marker in my hand.
Yep. Keep going.
I gotta get the whole thing.
As much as you want to paint. It does all need to be painted, yes. You like painting? All right, guys. So as a conclusion, this is the final result. This is just mocked up. We had to do something to show what the whole plan was. But this right here shows you that the end result was that whenever you put the truck on a lift, or let's just say we take it to the alignment shop, whenever they throw it up on the alignment rack, they see this outside nasty patinaed old pickup truck, and they think that underneath they're going to be fighting with caked on grease and nasty rust and all that stuff. No, on the backside everything looks like this. It's nice and cleaned up and prettied up. So all the structural rust has been repaired. Everything like that is taken care of. We still have on the inside of this truck here, we still have to knock down the tops of this stuff and get some kind of coating on all this, so that way it'll be sealed up and it won't go no further. So I'm gonna get some primer for all that, and then at some point we can start working on the interior of the truck. But that is not a worry for today. Man, it'd be pretty cool if that truck sat that low all the time, but nope, I ain't doing it. I'm just saying, I ain't doing it. But all right, I appreciate y'all watching. I would do a little bit more work on it today, but it's 6:30 on Sunday. I still got to go home and edit this video, get it out for y'all tomorrow on Monday. So I appreciate y'all watching. Do me a favor, like, share, subscribe, do all that stuff. It's going to help the channel grow. We're working our way up towards that 1,000. We're not there yet, but hey, I appreciate the people that do come back and watch every week, and the people that do comment, and the people that do care. But hey, see y'all next week. We got a lot more to do this truck.